Hey there, planners. I've got a big stack of planners and journals here. This is all the things I attempted to use in 2024. Some successes, some failures, lots of lessons learned. I want to do some reflection as we close out 2024 and head into 2025. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. All right, it's definitely the time of year where I am thinking about reflecting on the past year. What am I learning from this year? What lessons am I carrying forward? How am I going to make 2025 next year an even better year? And that includes thinking about all the planners that I've used in the past 12 months, planners and journals, and figuring out what worked, what didn't work, and what I'm going to be doing differently or the same in 2025. So let me scoot this out of the way. We're going to just go one by one through all of the various types of planners that I used and journals that I used and think about, reflect on what worked and what didn't. All right, let's talk about how I started the year. I started the year in this A5 Stology, and the A5 Stology is actually what I ended 2023 in and was absolutely loving it, loving the size, loving the paper again, loving the tipping in and all the things. I actually set this up and was very pink. It was very pink setup for me and really enjoyed it, kicking the year off, going strong, really using stickers and tip-ins and all kinds of things and felt really good in it. However, as you can tell from the amount of paper that I use, I didn't even get halfway through this thing. And I'm not even sure I used it for, I don't know how long I used it, but it was not very long because I very quickly found that I just wasn't feeling it anymore. It was, I don't know if it was the paper, I don't know if it was the printing and the tipping in, something about this just by the end of January, I knew I was ready for a change. And on a whim, and because Amazon algorithm, I guess, could feel my unease with my current planner setup, I found this notebook. This is a A5 dot grid notebook from Vivid Scribbles. And this is like 160 GSM paper. This is, while it's the same size as this A5 Stology, it is worlds and galaxies away from a paper standpoint. This notebook, with its very thick paper, is not something that you would tip a lot of things into because you would probably bust the spine if you did. It is meant to be a more traditional bullet journal. And when I say traditional bullet journal, I mean the way I have always used bullet journaling, which is more art, drawing things in, a creative outlet, in addition to the functionality of the bullet journal. That's how I use it in my personal life. Something about this was calling to me. If I go way back years and years and years ago, when I first started down my planner journey, bullet journaling really called to me. The ability to take a blank notebook and turn it into whatever I needed that day, whether it was a messy list or, you know, some artwork, some watercolor, whatever it was, that just really, really appealed to me. So what I learned, what do I take away from this Stology? It worked for me for a little while. I think it's beautiful. It certainly is aesthetic to flip through and to take a look at. However, because something is working at the end of the year, it does not mean it will be working at the beginning of the year. And even as I say this, I kind of laugh because I may be making the same mistake again going into 2025. Well, we'll get there. So I'm going to set this aside. I love the Stology. I will definitely come back to the A5 Stology at some point in time. I've used B6 Stologies in the past. I absolutely love them. I love the paper, and the blank notebook aspect is exactly the same between these two. When you buy a Stology or you buy a bullet journal notebook, you're getting a notebook of blank pages that you intend to turn into what you want. And that is very much a method that appeals to me, really, no matter what the format is. So that was the first stop on the journey that is 2024 planning. The next stop is this bullet journal. And when I say I fell hard back in love with the bullet journal, I really mean it. came to me at the right time. I think it was about mid-February when I got this. I had a little bit of free time and started to draw things in, over the weekends or, in the evenings, just sort of enjoying the process, drawing out the little calendars. Like I really, really embraced the old school, year at a glance, future log, like the whole thing. I did use some stickers, but mostly just drawing it in and being creative again, making lists, making collection spreads. I just really, really enjoyed the process of setting this up. So I went back and I back planned January just to have the month in there. February, I also did the same thing. It was already into February. I think I had like 2 weeks, maybe just 1 week of February when I set this up. So March was really the first full month setup, and I believe the first time I shared this bullet journal on the channel. I used watercolors. March was also the month of Easter in 2024. So I really enjoyed the watercolors, the drawing things in, of really having fun in this bullet journal. This April was the month that my grandson was born. His baby shower had a safari theme, so I had so much fun using a safari theme. Really, really fun. Goals, trackers. I did not use trackers at all. It's fine. May, I used a bunch of stickers and cut things out. Went with hydrangea, like full-on spring vibes. June, I broke out the alcohol markers, so that was the Hoo alcohol markers was super fun to incorporate the fruit, and just really enjoying. And so by June, I had almost used up all the back pages just making notes about different things, and I decided I was definitely going to keep going. And so that brought in my second bullet journal of the year, which I have almost completely filled up. And during the second half of the year, I actually did a full setup video for this, but during the second half of the year, my use of this bullet journal did shift a little bit. So I went from like daily planning in here because it was getting very, very big. I went from like daily planning in here to more memory keeping. Still very much loving the process of setting things up and picking out themes, doing, some artwork. Loved all of that, but didn't want to carry this around and needed a bit more portability in what I was using for day-to-day planning. So this morphed into a memory keeper for me, which I have absolutely loved. Same, drew out my little calendars, future log, vision board, family sort of memories, goals, like all of the traditional spreads. And then I'll give a quick view. You can go back and look at all of these setup videos. I'll have some of them listed down below, but July's theme, and then August theme. Really enjoyed the jellyfish. They were so much fun. These jellyfish were so fun to create with watercolors in here. I did this theme based on a kit from Hubman and Chub Girl. It was the coffee themed kit. It was absolutely gorgeous. The sticker kit, and it was really fun to do the coffee themed kit. And then October was all about pumpkins and leaves and cutouts. Kind of took a shortcut there. And then December was my Dorothy theme, No Place Like Home. Had a lot of fun coloring that in. So where does that leave me? What lessons am I taking forward? Well, definitely the lesson that I need a creative outlet. And this has morphed from a productivity and planning tool into a creative journaling tool. And I am definitely going to keep that around. I've already shared the 2025 bullet journal setup. So I'm going to keep right on going with this. You guys seem to enjoy it, to see the setups and sort of the tools that I'm using, things like that. So I'm going to keep right on going with this. It is less about productivity for me, and more about a creative outlet, which I definitely feel like we all need a creative outlet. Our creative outlet looks different from person to person. Mine just happens to be drawing in a notebook or painting in a notebook. But there are different ways that you can find that, and I feel like I have rediscovered mine. So in this season of life, I have the time to do it, and so I'm going to keep right on going with the bullet journal, and you can stay tuned for more of these. Okay, let's look at some of the on-the-go tools that I tried this year. Here's 3. I started with this beautiful 2024 Hobonichi Weeks Mega. I mean, just so pretty. And I had the cutest little Hobonichi Weeks cover from Aura Estelle. I had such big hopes and dreams for this planner. It was decorated beautifully on the inside with stickers and sticker kits, and I was going to track sick days and vacation days and have just all kinds of symptom tracking here. As you can see, you will see that it is extremely blank. I did go through and set up some months. Like I used, look at the stickers. I used all kinds of stickers. It was really beautiful. Nothing. And then when I get to the weeks, I think I got, this is the second week of January. And that's it. That's the last time I used this. I also had some really amazing pages in the notes section set up and ready to go, with index and holidays future log, which is completely empty. Just all kinds of hopes and dreams for this. I don't know why. I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it. Kind of like I started out the year kind of antsy and uncomfortable in my stology. I felt the same way about this. So I actually have never successfully used a Hobonichi Weeks for planning. I don't know why. I've tried every year. I'm trying again this year in 2025. I am tailoring the Hobonichi Weeks to health, specifically health and wellness, more like a journal, health and wellness and tracker. Maybe that will help, but yeah, this was a total flop. It didn't even make it to the second week of January. All right, and then I decided, well, let me try rings. I don't know why. I actually don't like rings. I have tried them many times, and it always comes down to one thing for me: retention. I feel like if I am going to put creativity and effort into writing things down, I want to keep them. I will keep this, even though it is not completed. It does have some pages in the back. I will keep this for a little while. I don't know how long, but for a little while. Anything that I spend time writing or setting up, I want to keep for a little while. And rings just, I was using this as my wallet. First of all, like this as a wallet, way too big. Way too big. It's so heavy. Yeah, this wasn't working at all. But it was a beautiful setup, and it was really pretty, and I loved setting it up. I love setting up rings planners and making the dashboards and, putting all my favorite printables and inserts in. I love doing all of that. But then I just never use it. And I love the idea, but it just doesn't. It never works out the way I think it will. I think I made it to through February maybe. I mean, I set up certainly further than February, but it ends up being more of like a reference notebook, and then I don't even really use it for reference. So, and another attempt at rings. If you guys hear me talk about rings in 2025, will you please remind me that I don't like rings? It's beautiful planner. It's easy to add things. It's fun to set up. But when it comes to using it, I just feel like I don't want to put anything important in here, because what do you do about storage? I don't know. I just can't get over that part of rings. So I know rings don't work for me. I tried it anyway, and it didn't work for me. So lesson learned, again, rings don't work for me. Then I landed on the little asextology. So coming into April, when this had failed and this had failed and my bullet journal was working and beginning to bulk up, I knew that I needed something portable. Enter my little asextology. Now she's all dressed up for Christmas, and this is not the one I started with in April because I filled that one up pretty quickly. But this little stology has changed the game for me. So I went through different phases in here. Actually, this is the one that I set up in April. I went through different phases in here. I started out setting it up like a traditional planner with a future log and goals. And then I tipped in some things, some of my favorite like trigger list, brain dump trigger list, things like that. Then I just started journaling in it and drawing pictures. I took notes on castor oil and all its uses, made lists, wrote notes about overnight oats and healthy smoothies, more journaling, started keeping a food log. And I did that for just this random stuff for a while. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to set up a calendar. And so I set up a calendar. I drew in a calendar, and that worked great. And then I did a meals calendar and a weather calendar, and I drew in some weeks, but kept making lists, random lists of things. And it just became this place of great freedom for me. I wasn't purchasing sticker kits. I wasn't printing a lot of things out. I was drawing a lot of things in, and I was also using up my scraps, my leftovers, the things that, you know, the washi tape that I already had, the stickers that I had left over from last year. And there was a freedom about that that made this so fun. The portability is awesome. I started carrying my wallet items in here. I have messy lists in here. I have notes about the day. I have to-do list. This little A6 has been fantastic. While my bullet journal really became a place that I wanted to be beautiful and invest time in the setup and the aesthetic, this became my little workhorse, easy to carry around, fits in everything, purse, book bag, all of that stuff, and very functional. So these two together have become a great pair, and actually I'm headed into 2025 with this same core combination: a bullet journal for creative outlet and memory keeping and those type of, you know, creative journaling, and astrology for a workhorse. These two just like magic combination this year. Now again, I just talked about in 2025, in 2023 headed into 2024, I tried to keep going with the same thing that was working in 2023, and it didn't work in 2024. So here I am again in 2024 trying to head into 2025 with the same things that are really working for me. I don't know if they'll work or not, but we're going to give it a try. Okay, let's talk about work. So I continue to use OneNote as a tool for work that is very effective for me. It's, you know, digital planning, really more like retention of emails and meeting minutes, notes, things like that. But I also, as I got very, very busy in 2024, felt like I needed something more physical. And in February, I set up this B5, so you can see that this is quite a bit bigger than the A5, both taller and wider. It's more like a composition notebook, 7 by 10, sort of those dimensions. I set up a B5 bullet journal for extremely functional, no stickers, no markers. There is some color coding associated with the projects that I have managed in different areas of responsibility for work. I have several videos about this, but I will say this is working very well. I am heading into 2025 with a digital version of this. So I created a digital planner version of this. I want to see how that works for me. I do, in the background, have a bullet journal that I can set up, a physical one, if I feel like, again, I need that physical paper, but I'm going to try to go with the digital because it's a little bit more portable. It does give me the, using GoodNotes and the Apple Pen, I do feel like I have the tactile writing sensation covered. We'll see how it works, but this has been a very effective system. So two bullet journals for work. Every page is filled in both of them. So this has been an excellent tool for productivity at work. All right, let's talk about journals. So first of all, my faith journal. This was a Hobonichi Cousin, 2024 Hobonichi Cousin. It's a behemoth of a planner, and I went into the year using it as a faith journal. I have many flip throughs of this, and I will not do a full flip through of this again, but suffice it to say, I was using every section of this planner, and it was going really well till about middle of the year, and then all of a sudden I just hit the wall and did not have the time to devote to this as I did in the first half of the year. Possibly because a lot of my creativity was going into my bullet journal. I still was doing the same Bible study and note-taking. I just did not have the time to fill all of the sections in the way that I had in the past. Once I started to build up those blank pages, I really started not wanting to come to this tool as much. So this is a lovely option for spiritual faith journaling, Bible study, scripture writing, all of that. This is a lovely option, the Hobonichi Cousin. If you have clearly defined how you're going to use each of the sections, and if you have the time. I just stopped having the time. So I'm going to a few different options in 2025. I will definitely keep this in mind, though, as I love the Hobonichi Cousin. The paper is a little funky this year, but I love this planner, and I will definitely keep this in mind in the future as I have time. And as I get back to a season where I have more time, I will probably want to come back to this. All right, the last journal I want to share is this lovely lady. I had so much fun setting this up. This was a reading journal, and I do feel like in 2024 I did rediscover my love of reading, which has been awesome. I have missed the outlet of reading. I have learned to enjoy audiobooks, which I had really struggled with in the past. It was an attention thing, but now I have learned to really enjoy those, and also taking advantage of the app Libby and my local library and branch of libraries through that app, and being able to listen to audiobooks that way. It's pretty amazing. I wanted to keep this journal for my reading. I have all kinds of really fun spreads in here, 100 books to read in a lifetime, my rating scale, what I wanted, pages I wanted to put in here, my poor little bookshelf, which is not completed. I did read more books than this. 100 books was kind of ridiculous. So I definitely did read more books than this. I need to fill them in, but that is the lesson learned here. I did not have the time to do this. I did for a little bit. I did a couple of quotes and spreads on how I felt about different books that I read. I wrote some notes about some of the books that I read, but I did not devote the time that I wanted to this. And I think the lesson for me here is social media got me. I saw some beautiful reading journals, and I want to have time to do this. But if I want to read, then I can't also have a reading journal because it's the same time. So I either am spending time reading or I'm spending time filling out a reading journal, and you can't fill out a reading journal if you haven't read. So I just have a limited amount of time, and I'm going to keep this because the setup is awesome, and I left it open, started in 2024. This could go on for, there are a lot of pages here. This could go on for a long time in this journal. I really like the idea of it, but I don't have the time to devote to it right now. So this is going to go on the shelf as a someday maybe item, and I hope to come back to it someday and pick it back up and have the time to enjoy it as it should be enjoyed. Right, so that's some reflection and thinking about the lessons learned for me. I've got some winners and some, some losers, but not really, because I learned a lot from every tool that I used this year. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're doing your own reflection. I would love to hear from you down in the comments. What really worked for you this year? What did not work for you this year? And what lessons from your planner system in 2024 are you taking into 2025 and applying? If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to Planning Annie for more content like this, and as always, thanks for planning with me.